everyone, and welcome to Golden Islands. This is Golden Islands reviewing Better Call Saul, Season 2, Episode 1. This is my first review ever of anything, so let's see how it goes. Okay, first things first, this episode I give it a 6 to a 7 on a 10-point scale. It has some interesting parts, but nothing super duper interesting overall. It's a very well made episode, like all Breaking Bad episodes and all Better Call Saul episodes, but there's nothing really that gets you hooked. Okay, now it's time for spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, then run out to your backyard, bury your computer, and then just move to another country, because here the spoilers come. Okay, when we start up the episode, you see Saul here, Jimmy, in present day, and he's working here at Cinnabon, and he works with his co-workers, tells them good night ladies or something like that, and then he takes out the trash. Now this whole scene here, I thought first that the door was gonna close behind him because he didn't put this wood stopper that perfectly below the door to stop the door, so I was thinking, oh, it's definitely gonna slam on him, but then the door doesn't slam on him. I was thinking, oh, it didn't go with the obvious choice, and then of course it slams on him. So he's stuck there, he can't get out, the door is locked, and he goes to the other door, but it's an emergency exit, and if he opens it, well, then the alarm starts and the police will come, and that's a problem he doesn't need. And then he goes back and forward, and then he goes to the door again, and then sees this sign here, push to open and sound alarm, and basically he chooses not to open the door. He sits and waits for about 3 hours before another cleaning guy comes in to throw out his trash. Okay. Then we cut back to about where the last episode of Season 1 ended, and he's actually going to the guys there to accept the job, and he's meeting this new team of lawyers that he was gonna work with. And then he takes Kim here to the side and says, is our relationship dependent upon me taking this job? And she says, the one thing has nothing to do with the other. Okay, so he actually gets out, and here is the last scene, or one of the last scenes from the last episode of Season 1, and you are cut back to this scene here when he's talking to Mike here, and he says, oh, weren't we crazy to leave $1.6 million? So he actually went in and talked to the lawyers before just driving away, because the impression of the last episode in Season 1 was that he just drove away. Okay, so this was overall interesting, especially that point with Kim, because there's a potential for relationship there, which is always interesting. Then he actually goes back to the nail salon where he has his little office there in the steam room, or boiler room is more accurate, and the owner says, oh, cucumber water for customers only. And he actually is angry with this, so he opens the tap and he drinks from it exactly like that, which was somewhat funny. Then we switch back to Mike here, and Mike is waiting with his lunch there. I really like these details. These small details are really well made. So he's waiting for the guy here, same guy he worked with before, but you don't know this yet, but now you know it, because he drives up in this crazy Humvee, and Mike walks up to him and says, well, we can't use this here. We have to drive and use my car, because this just stands out way too much. He doesn't use those words. He says it's much cooler, much better. And actually Mike starts to walk away as soon as he says this, and the guy, he drives back and says, hey, aren't you coming? And then Mike says, well, yeah, you have to change the car. Okay, so the guy, his name is Daniel. I don't know if we found out this in Season 1, but we find it out in this episode. So Mike here talks to Daniel and explains, well, you can't use this car, it's just crazy. But Mike doesn't say, he says it's much cooler, much better. And this was a somewhat funny, interesting part. And then the guy, Daniel, he doesn't want to change in the car, so Mike walks away. Then we are at the meet here, and there's like this little detail that I really liked. It was that they had this hummingbird show up in the middle of the thing just before the other guy arrives, because the previous scene was this whole scene without the hummingbird. Then the hummingbird shows up and then it flies away. That little detail, the same thing with Mike's lunch, I really liked. That was really well made. So we have Daniel here waiting with his Humvee, and then this guy Nacho shows up with his beat up van, and Daniel invites him to look at the car. Nacho, of course, he's first asking politely, can I enter? And then yeah, sure, get in. And Nacho gets in, which was a huge mistake from Daniel. And then what Nacho does is that he opens the glove box and he sees his address, his name, everything you need to know to find the guy. Yeah. Excuse me. Jimmy, and Jimmy is at a pool and he's in a nice chair. He has a boogie board with some nachos on it, and he has a phone inside a plastic bag, which is what people did before the smartphones came out and with the nanotechnology that could handle the water. This is somewhere between 2003, 4, 5, I think, maybe 2002, when the flip phones were quite big. Could also be early 2000s, I don't know. So somewhere in the early 2000, I think more 2003 or 2004. Doesn't matter. So I really like this. And someone calls him on the phone and they ask him, are you a lawyer? No, I'm not a lawyer anymore. And then Kim shows up. And she says, what, is this your midlife crisis? This was a very nice scene. I liked it. I liked the dynamic between those two. It was nice. So here he says, okay, get in a bikini and jump in the pool. And she says, no. She doesn't say no. She says, I'll be in the bar for a little while. You come and join me. And of course he goes and joins her. And they look at the menu, and the menu has this extremely expensive tequila where one shot costs $50. And in today's money, that would be like $60 or $65, I don't know. But it's crazy. Even in today, $50 is a lot for one shot of tequila. So those two are talking, Kim and Jimmy, and this guy in the background is a stockbroker, and he keeps on yapping, and this is of course an exaggeration, I believe, of a stockbroker that the TV series does, and he is portrayed like a huge jerk. I'm certain there are many jerks that are stockbrokers, but like this is really Hollywood all the way. But it's fun, it's really nice, but it's sometimes people, they take these liberties to go over the top. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Okay, this guy, he's a douchebag. Okay, we get it, and he's a stockbroker. A douchebag such as him, I don't know if they actually could become a stockbroker, but let's drop that. He's a douchebag. Okay, and then Jimmy is talking to Kim, and Kim says, okay, what are you gonna do? And Jimmy says, well, okay, I found this interesting working as a lawyer, but I do find other things interesting as well. He doesn't say it like that. I'm massively paraphrasing. And what he wants to show her what he does. So he walks up to the stockbroker with her. He said, well, before that, he says, okay, come with me and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I need to show you. So he walks up to the stockbroker and dreams up this whole story how he and Kim are siblings. Kim is his sister, and they use different names for fun, and he wants to show her what he's doing. So he walks up to the stockbroker and starts scamming him, saying that, oh well, we just got an heritage. We just inherited a lot of money. That's good enough English. We just inherited a lot of money, and we heard you a stockbroker, and yeah, and he's basically working the stockbroker, scamming him. So the stockbroker wines and dines, paraphrasing them, and they're ordering this $50 tequila. They're having a good time, and then they sign the papers, of course, with their fake names, Giselle and Victor with a K. And then they leave the guy with the tab, and that is an extremely large tab. That is a huge bill they have to pay. I don't know if tab is the right word. Either way, leave him with the check. The check is the right word. There you go. They leave him with the check, and it's extremely expensive. Extremely, and he's just, holy moly. So they go out and they have this moment, and she actually looks at him like this, like, oh my, I really like you, I really like you. And they share a kiss, and this whole moment was very nice, very well made. Nothing to complain about there. It was all well made, very well made. And then we jump to the scene. They had obviously slept together, and they're waking up, they're doing their morning business. And this is the interesting thing here, is that Jimmy wants to borrow Kim's toothbrush, but Kim says no, not gonna happen. So what Jimmy does is he uses Kim's finger as a toothbrush, and that's really funny. Here you go, he brushes his teeth with her finger, and she's like, hey, whatever. And then he says, well, wait until you find out what I'm gonna floss with, and she laughs there, and that was really funny. I think the actor actually ad-libbed that line there, and that was quite interesting. That was very well made. Okay, now we are, they're getting dressed. We are at the end of this whole nice scene, and he says, wouldn't it be nice if we could always do such a thing, always do this? And she says, yes, it would be, of course, nice. And then they drop that, and then she asks, well, do you have somewhere to go? And he says, yes, of course I have somewhere to go. Well, she says something like that, very similar. And it's a interesting, good scene. Yeah, it's okay. And of course, it doesn't have anywhere to go. But now we are back at Daniel's house here. The bald guy with the Humvee, and the police have shown up. Oh, what else? I was thinking when I saw this, oh, he's dead. He's definitely dead. But I was wrong. He had been burglarized, and they had stolen his safe. I think he had a safe in there. It's not completely clear in the episode, but I think he had it. Or I could misremember. He might definitely have a safe there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He was stolen, and his baseball cards were stolen. And of course, baseball cards can be worth a lot, several thousands and thousands of dollars, even maybe tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, depending on how rare they are. So yes, they are extremely valuable, and he's worried about that. He also mentions that he had some money, and the police, then they shine up. They get this, like, oh, how much money? And he says, never mind about that, focus about the cards. Okay, so he leaves to get an inventory list of his cards, and the police notice that this area here around the couch, it seems like that all of this garbage has been moved, as if the couch has pushed the garbage away, which of course makes a perfect couch shape there. And this looks strange, yes. Also before that, they mentioned, well, the burglars didn't take the TV, they didn't take the computer. Pretty strange. And then they noticed this couch. Yes. So this, entertainment-wise, this is a pretty interesting thing. So they move the couch, and behind it, they fiddle with these paddles here, and it comes loose, and they find this secret compartment, or whatever you want to call it. However, it is empty, or we are believed it to be empty. There could be something, but I'm quite certain it was empty. So most likely, when Daniel came home, he checked this spot here first to see if it had been stolen, because most likely he was storing his drugs there. Also, this is another one of these Hollywood things that such a guy, he says he works IT for pharmaceutical, most likely that is true, and that is how he's getting his drugs, but a guy with the intellectual capacity to work in IT for a pharmaceutical would most likely never be such a personality as his and be so stupid to do such stupid things like, oh, I'm a drug dealer now, therefore I'm gonna buy a big car. No, that's stupid. Oh, I'm a drug dealer now and I'm gonna talk one-on-one with a real drug dealer. No, that's really stupid. Yeah, I don't think an IT guy would do such stupid things. Okay, but of course this is entertainment and interesting stuff, but these are the small little things that bother me a little bit. Like, okay, he's smart enough to become an IT guy for a pharmaceutical company, but he's not smart enough to understand all of these things. It's not mutually exclusive. A guy with such an intellect would understand such things, and this is a current theme in almost all TV series from America, that basically all smart guys are really stupid and the stupid guys are actually the smart guys. Yeah, no. So here we are back with Jimmy. He didn't have anywhere to go and he's calling Kim on the speed dial here, called her possibly a few times, and then this babe here walks in and smiles at him, and then you find out that she's with this guy here. And this guy, I was thinking, oh my, he's a mafia type, don't mess with him. He's probably just gonna pull out a gun and start shooting Jimmy for looking at his girl. However, this is not the case. He seems to be just a rich fat guy. He's not that fat, but I think they wanted it to portray it like this, that he's a rich fat guy with a hot young girlfriend. And Jimmy then calls Kim and says, wow, we have the perfect mark here. Just come here and we can scam him. Well, he doesn't say like that. He uses a whole lioness reference, which is a little bit funny, but still, when I saw this guy, I was thinking, oh my, mafia guy. So I was completely wrong about that. Well, maybe. Anyway, those two are together. And then we see Jimmy here touching his ring, and you don't know exactly where it's going. Is he scamming someone? Is he not scamming? What is going on here? Because that ring, as all fans remember, was a memory token from his friend from the first season, the friend who died. And then we find out, wow, he went back to the lawyer guys, which was, of course, the best choice. He should have done it in the beginning. He should have never rejected it, because if he wants to have a good living, a nice living as a lawyer for a big firm, you can definitely make a nice living, and he would have a much bigger chance of getting the girl, Kim, if he worked in that place. Okay, he asked her and she said it wasn't dependent, but still, he should have taken the job right there and then invited Kim for dinner or whatever. Okay, so he goes back to he goes to them. He's never been there. Well, you can say he goes back. He goes to them, and they show him around. He meets everybody there, shakes everybody's hand, and then he's given his office, which is a perfectly nice office. If you know movie shooting, actually such a space would be really small, but it looks big because they're shooting with the camera here that makes it look big. But otherwise, it's to give the impression of a big, nice office, which it does looks like. But if you know a little bit about movie magic, it's actually most likely a shoebox. But anyway, that's movie magic. It's meant to be and represent a big, nice office, and it's very nice, and has this strange picture here, which I would have removed, and he gets a personal assistant here. Okay, that's very nice. So he walks around the office and he sees this button here, always leave on, do not turn off, and of course he turns it off, nothing happens, and the episode ends there. Yeah. So this was also somewhat funny. I was expecting actually something to break permanently and someone to come in, oh, you broke a thing with the thing. So the button is connected to something else, and then there is going to be a big fire or whatever. Yeah. overall, it was interesting. Okay, is that the last picture? Yes, that is the last picture. Okay, everyone. That was my first review of anything, which happened to be Better Call Saul Season 2, Episode 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good time.